Well, good morning everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Hey, today I'm making a little change to the Gladiator back there. Recently, I had put an Airaid cold air intake in it, and originally I wanted the S&B, but I had read that the Airaid was more of a direct replacement, so I put it in, and it's awesome. It sounds great, but my wife also wanted one. So what I decided to do was go ahead and put the Airaid in her Jeep, which is done. It's all installed. I removed it from the Gladiator. And then after doing this install, I decided that, you know, I could put an S&B in mine after seeing what the Airaid was like. So we're gonna put an S&B cold air intake in my Jeep Gladiator today and see what it sounds like as compared to the Airaid. I had said before that I noticed a heck of a difference with that Airaid filter, and let me tell you, the main reason I'm doing this is frankly because I want that full window on top and the ease of changing the filter. Much easier to take the top off of the S&B, replace the filter, than it is to have to take half of the intake out like you do back there with the Airaid to change the filter. Now, the reason I'm doing that is because my wife doesn't drive as much as I do really, so her filter shouldn't get as dirty as quickly as mine would, so I figure I'll have to screw with it less. That's really the whole reason. Anyway, let's go ahead, we'll get this thing unboxed and see what the install's like with an S&B cold air intake. Okay, one thing I want to point out, because I get asked about this a lot, right here on the outside of their box it says, breathe easy, your engine and warranty are protected. Okay, let's get it open, see what we got. Packaging, that's always good. Let's see, we have some kind of a little flap thing here. Of course, the intake tube, obviously you're going to be needing one of those. Another flap kind of thing here, gasket we'll call it, and a coupling. And then of course, some hardware, gotta have hardware, and the intake box with the big opening on the top here, so we'll be able to see inside. And let's see, we have the air filter here. I'll show that to you here in a little bit. And then of course the cover here that goes over that big opening. Okay, as I mentioned before, I already have the Airaid intake removed. If you're looking at how to do that, check out my other video. I'll leave a link down below as to how to remove the existing OEM cold air intake. You guys can see how to do that. This is a little bit different than the Airaid install. We're going to start following the directions over here. For the Airaid, it said to remove this bolt, and that's where you secured it down, and there was very little room to work doing that. In the S&B install, it says to remove this one. So I'm going to take this bolt out, like it says to do, and then I'm going to put it over here where I'm missing one because of the Airaid install. So let's go ahead and remove this bolt. And it is a 10 millimeter, by the way. Okay, next step is to remove the air temperature sensor. I think I called this a MAF sensor before. It's the air temperature sensor. And you want to pay attention, there's a little nub right here you have to overcome. So I just use a little screwdriver to push this edge up a little bit and then rotate this thing counterclockwise rather, about halfway. And then it should just pull right out. Okay, once you have that out, you need to grab your bag of parts here. There is a grommet inside here with a little PVC connector tube. Looks like that. You want to locate that because we're going to put that into the intake tube to receive the airflow sensor. So, we have the airflow tube right here, and they even give you a little notch in it right here so that you can line this notch up that's on the coupling with it. And let me tell you, that is much more handy than the way Airaid does it. And that's it. You just slide it right in like that. It's lined up here with the little notch, and you're done. Now all we have to do is put the mass air, or the air temperature sensor in, and rotate it. And they even give you a little nub here to overcome, just like the one on the OEM rather, so that you know you have it in the right spot. So this is the little devil right here, and you're going to want to stick it in, and I'm not even going to turn it. I'm going to see if I can just stick it in the right spot. And I can, I think, maybe not. There. And now you can see this little nub right here, which is what we had to overcome on the other, over this little raised part here, is in already. Okay, next up is this little PVC hose receiver, I'll call it. You need to screw it into the outlet on the tube. It is aluminum. I will say the Airaid's was plastic. So we'll screw that in as far as you can get it by hand. And then I think maybe a couple extra turns with a 3/4 inch wrench. Remember, you are bolting into, in essence, what's plastic, so you don't want to go nuts, right? Okay, next up, you want to go ahead and get your coupling. Put on your air intake tube here. That just slips over. Pretty simple to do. And then you'll want to go ahead and tighten this down. At this point, I don't see any reason not to tighten this down. Another thing I'm going to note here, it's nice how the coupling in this kit has ridges and a lip where the actual clamp goes. No question as to where to put it, and it's a good representation, I guess, of how to put it on. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down on the tube. Again, you don't want to kill it. This is just plastic, so you don't want to crack it. Okay, next up we're going to move over to the air box. Take that thing out of the plastic. Then you want the big hole right there. So let's get rid of the plastic. And then you want this big seal here, and they call it a tube seal, I guess. So we're going to go ahead and put that in. It does have a little lip around here, so you should be able to just fit it inside there. Okay, we've got that on. Really wasn't too difficult. Once you get it in the notch around the lip, you just kind of push it around and you're good. Now, next up, we have this another tube seal apparently. So we're going to go this way, and it's for this hole right here on top. And it's for the one that looks like this. It is shaped the same way as the hole, so you can see pretty easy. You just match it up and put it in. I suspect it's going to go in just the same as the other, so I'm going to go ahead and get this put in here next. Alright, we got that in. That wasn't too difficult either. These are nice and flexible, which makes it easier to put them in. Next up, we have the lid seal. That's this black rubber seal, I guess. It's going to go around the lid here in this space. You should be able to just feed this thing around the edge, and it doesn't look to me like there's any right or wrong way, so we're just gonna, I guess I'll have it marry up here at this edge. Just kind of push it in. Don't stretch it while you're doing it, or you're gonna end up with too much at the end. You'll have to snip some off, so I'm trying not to stretch it while I'm doing this. Should just fit right in. Once I get it all the way in. Yeah, look at that. Marries up right with the edge right here. Check that out. So now I'm just going to go around it, make sure that I've got it pushed in there well. Next up, there is a little hook, I guess, kind of thing that we're going to need. Let's see, and it goes right here in this little outlet like this, because this is what's going to bolt into the side of the Jeep. So let me go ahead and fasten that in. Okay, next up is to go ahead and put the air box inside the truck. And how you do that, you have these little nubs here on the bottom. And let me take you over here and I'll show you a little tip, or give you a little tip. If you look down inside the box here, you can see there's one right here. This is the grommet it goes into, and one right there. Now, before you put it in there, I have a little concoction of soapy water. I'm just going to hit that with a little soapy water to make those prongs slide in there a little easier. And of course the water will dry and evaporate eventually anyway, so I don't think it really matters. So now I'll go grab the box and stick it down there in those little prongs. Okay, next step here is to take this provided 10mm bolt and go ahead and fasten the bracket on the side of the airbox to the first hole over here on the little bracket inside the Jeep. Another comment I'll make on the Airaid, you had to reach inside the intake hole here and try to put that bolt in on the second one. Very difficult and very tight to do. This is on the outside and it's exposed. You don't have to reach inside here or anything. Much better design, I think. This is probably my biggest pet peeve between the two. So we're going to go ahead and get this bolt in here to secure the airbox. Okay, next up is inserting the tube inside of the airbox. We've got the tube here, and it's going to go in the hole here, you know, the big hole that we have open right now. And I'm going to give you a tip. So first of all, let's go ahead and slide this in. There we go. And another nice thing about it, I'll show you right here. It appears that it slides right up to this little notch in the tube, and it looks like that's the right position looking at where we are on the throttle body here. So that's cool. I like how it, again, doesn't leave room for air. You know you have it in there right because it's up against the lip right here. So next up, and here's my tip. The instructions will tell you to go ahead and connect the throttle body up right up here. But then you have to try to finagle the air filter in here. And it's much easier if you can move this pipe around while you're trying to do that than trying to have it fixed, already attached to the throttle body. So we're going to go ahead and get the air filter on there now. Okay, we've got the filter all inside and the clamp all tightened down. Absolutely put this in before you fasten up the rest. Much easier to be able to manipulate this instead of having it fixed at the throttle body. We have gone ahead and pushed this over the throttle body now, the coupler, and we're going to tighten up these two clamps, and then we'll be to the point where we can plug in the airflow sensor and the PVC tube, and also we're going to need to put the lid on, so that's what's coming up next. Okay, we've got her all tightened down at the throttle body, both clamps here, clamp inside the air filter, so we're done with clamps. Again, make sure you don't kill this, it is just plastic, so you don't have to really get on it. Now we just have to make our connections. We have the PVC line over here, so let's go ahead and snug that puppy back on. Now we're going to go ahead and put the airflow sensor connector on. And that's it. Okay, next up is the cover, and you have to remove this covering, obviously, off of it. And I think if you use a little bit of an X-Acto knife or something to kind of grab the edge, it might actually help you. You notice I'm wearing gloves because I don't want to get fingerprints all over this thing. And I know it's going to get dirty eventually, but I want to keep it as clean as possible up until that point. So I'm actually going to start here with the logo part and kind of peel that away. Again, I'm just trying to grab an edge without scratching anything. There you go. There's the S&B logo. Pretty cool. Okay, for this you just need a Phillips head and then this package of little screws and these little rubber washers, if you will. They obviously just sit on top, like so. More for protection and decoration, I guess. Okay, before you get it all tightened down, just make sure that you have your plexiglass in the right spot. This certainly you don't want to kill. You just want to snug it down so you have a good seal. You're not really trying to, you know, put it down so that it never moves. There, that's it. That's the complete install. Everything is done. You guys can see what it looks like. There's the view of the filter. That's exactly what I was looking for. I did go with a dry filter. You can of course get an oiled. I think it's really a matter of preference. Everything is all connected up. Got the airflow sensor over here. Everything is tightened. I'll probably go over it one more time, to be honest, just to make sure, and then I'm going to fire it up. We'll go for a ride and see if we can hear any difference between this and the other one over there on my wife's Jeeps. They are the same motor, so we should be able to notice if there's any kind of a difference between the two. Okay, here we go. The inaugural run. This is in the Jeep Wrangler, the orange one. We're going to see how it sounds in here, and then I'm going to compare that to the Gladiator's new S&B. So here we go.
Love it, love it, love it.
You can definitely hear it. I'm not surprised. It should sound pretty much like the Gladiator did. I mean, it's the same motor, so. Hopefully you guys can hear that. I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up or not, but.
It's got a nice little rumble now.
This is supposed to give more horsepower too. Up to 12 more horses and 10 more foot-pounds of torque.
Good God.
You can certainly hear it, that's for sure. I don't know if it's faster or not. I mean, this Jeep is pretty darn quick as it is, so kind of hard to tell. But let's go grab the Gladiator next. Okay, we're in the Gladiator now. The inaugural run in the Gladiator. We'll see if it sounds as mean as Krista's Jeep does now. I don't know. Here we go. Well, it has a little bit more of a throaty sound to it. But I wouldn't say it's as loud as Krista's is. So I've given up a little bit of growl, I guess, for aesthetically pleasing appearance, I guess. Definitely does not sound quite as loud as hers did, I don't think. No, I'd say definitely not. And a little bit. You can hear a little bit of a grumble to it. I don't think it's quite as pronounced or as long-lasting, maybe, as what Krista's now is. Well, you get a little bit in the higher RPMs, I guess, but yeah, I would say in the throaty battle, I think the Airaid does win. So, honey,
thank you, honey.
You've got the louder exhaust.
That is awesome.
Or exhaust note, I guess.
And I love it.
As far as cold air intakes go.
Uh-huh.
Wow, isn't that wild? So, the S&B is a little bit quieter.
Well, there you go.
Okay, so we're back. Couple of things. The Airaid is definitely louder. So if you're looking for more sound, probably be better off to go with the Airaid. As far as install goes, the S&B is a much easier install, only because of the frustration level, I guess, of getting some of the things together. That screw that tightens the airbox down to the side up in the front, and then that grommet that you put in the back for the Airaid is horrendously difficult. Not so with the S&B. I got the feeling the S&B is maybe a hair better quality as far as the parts that they use and the way that things fit seamlessly. Anyway, that's it. That's my install of the S&B intake on my Jeep Gladiator back here. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you guys could hear the difference between the two, I'd be curious to know. Also, if you haven't before and you want to, check out my other channel. It is Rob Motive, all about my 2020 Tacoma. And don't forget to click that notification bell so that you don't miss any upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.